So I wanted to make a quick video going over explaining exactly what you can expect in the completed video project for the course. So what are the expectations for that? So if we click this, you see you've got some written directions here. Even if you're watching the video, I highly recommend that you read that information, all the information you're expected to know, and really you should know in order to successfully make a good video, submit it, get it graded, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you read all this, good information in there. And then down here, there is a student. This is actually a project that a student did in a previous semester. She got an A. Her project is not perfect. She does make a couple of math errors. So don't learn the math from her. Most of it's good, but she does make a few mistakes. But her presentation is very good. See how she's got how things are set up here? So if you don't understand how to set up the video, watch it. Go through and watch this and you can get ideas. Oh, okay, I see how she's explaining the questions. I see how she's using graphs in order to explain what's going on. I see how she's setting up the hypothesis test. And you can go through and do something similar. Obviously, I'm not telling you to copy her, but it gives you an idea of what the expectation is. Now, her video is very long. Yours does not need to be anywhere near that long. Usually, most students that get A's, their videos are somewhere a little longer than 15 minutes to 17 minutes, around in there. Now, I don't grade on time, so don't talk real slow. I grade on content. But if you're finding yourself with a 10, 11-minute video, it's very likely that you did not go deep enough into the information to show me that you learned a substantial enough amount of information over the course. So make sure that you are doing all the things. Read the text, watch the video that I'm about to post here, and then watch this example video. So what do I expect? You're going to make a video that's going to be, up here it says minimum 10-minute video. Most videos that are in the low teens, 10, 11, 12 minutes, usually are missing lots of information that should have been in there, and then that affects the grade. So most A's are between 15 and 20 minutes. Again, it's not about trying to stretch out the time. It's about making sure that you have the proper amount of content covered inside of the video. So what you can do is you can go out there and find there's different ways to do this, and I'm pretty flexible with it. But it has to be a video that you submit. The most popular way to do this is go out there and find a free video capture software, right? This stuff's totally free. You don't have to pay for anything. And what some people do is they create slides, either in Google Slides or whatever software you like. You create some slides that have your graphs in it, like we see here. She made a little box that has some points that she wants to talk about. She pasted her graphs in here, and she's got some output from StatCrunch, and then she talks about it. So the microphone is capturing her voice. You do not have to have the image of your face in the video. Okay, that question always comes up. Your face does not have to appear in the video if you don't want it to. But your voice definitely should, because I need to hear you talking about the information. So you're going to create a video where you're going to go over the survey questions, and you're going to talk about them using the information, the statistics that you've learned in this course. So what are we going to do? So up here, you picked some questions that you wanted to use for your survey question. Basically, you want to go back. In any of these discussions that starts with the word project, you want to go in there, look at what you did, and in all likelihood, you can now do it better than you did it back then, because you were just learning the material back then. You should be much better with it now. So I'm going to be grading a little bit harder. When I graded these project discussions, I was just looking at the basics. Can you get into StatCrunch? Can you do the basic thing? And you mostly understand what you're doing. But you had just learned it. Now at the end of the semester, I can have a higher expectation of you understanding the statistics. So you're going to go back, you're going to take your survey questions. Now remember, we picked quantitative, qualitative, and a binary question. That's because you need all those questions in order to cover everything. How are you going to talk about correlation and regression if you don't have two quantitative sets of data to work with, right? So people are getting the questions, do I just use one question for everything? You use whatever's appropriate for you to get the information done correctly, right? I'm not pinning you down to doing exactly one thing. You should have picked 5 questions. Use those 5 questions however you need to in order to make a good project. Okay, so you go back, look at the project or your survey questions. Okay, so then we'll go down a little bit more. And then we've got what? Yeah, then you cleaned up your data. So there should be a portion in your video where you talk about cleaning up your data. Did you learn anything from cleaning up your data? Would you rewrite some of the questions? Don't be afraid of mistakes. Sometimes people think, oh, I made a mistake and I don't want to put that in the video because it makes me look bad. Making mistakes is part of learning. So if you can say, I worded this question this way or this question was worded this way and I thought it was going to be okay, but then the data was a mess, I think maybe it should be worded differently. Okay, well, you just showed me that you learned something from the course, right? So don't be afraid of that. So go back here. What did you do about cleaning the survey data? Explain what you did, why that was important. Talk about it. And then you've got these visuals. So, you made some project visuals for this discussion post. Probably you want to go back and redo them. You probably understand StatCrunch better now, and you're going to make better visuals. Remember to label everything properly. Right? It only takes a few seconds and it adds a lot of professionalism to your graphs. So label things properly with units. Make as many visuals as you want, right? A lot of times people are trying to pin me down to, well, what's the minimum thing that I have to do? Well, it's up to you, and your project will be graded accordingly, right? Many people, like the example video that you can watch, she did lots of graphs, and they tend to be pretty good graphs. So it really looks like she knows what she's doing when she talks about it, right? So that's going to translate into a strong grade, okay? So go back, work on your project visuals, and get those ready. Start putting them in a slide that you can talk about in your video. Okay, then we've got the question summary. Go back, summarize your question. What is your topics about? Is your topic really focused on the environment? So you picked questions about the environment. Is it about exercise? Is it about school life? So whatever. Just talk about the questions and give a brief summary of some basic statistics, like descriptive statistics of those questions. Okay, then we've got here. Then you've got the big ones where we've got the project hypothesis testing. So there's kind of some big ones here. The hypothesis testing, estimating a parameter, basically confidence intervals. Those are huge topics. If any of those are missing from your project, I will notice, and that will affect your grade. So make sure you're talking about those in some way. Now, how do you do it? That's up to you. Do you want to, you've got numerous quantitative questions, or you should, and actually you still have access to the data, so you can go back and get some new ones if you want. Talk about one in terms of a confidence interval. You have a lot of freedom to decide which question you use, but analyze that question using a confidence interval. Find another question, analyze it using a hypothesis test, right? Do you want to show that the majority of students, the proportion or a majority of students at Ventura College take more than half of their classes online or something like that? I don't know. Make up your own. Go test it using data for the questions that you came up with, just like we did for the presidential heights question, right? You're going to construct a hypothesis test and test something, right? But you get to decide what that hypothesis test is going to be about. Then we've got correlation and regression. So then you're going to have part of your project should absolutely be on correlation and regression. Talking about that, making sense of it, talking about an R value. You really should have a scatter plot with a regression line in there, and it gives you your R value. That's all. That's all great stuff to put in there. And then we have an assignment where you're writing an outline. So a lot of students just try to jump into the video, just no preparation or anything. Just jump into the video and try to wing it. And that usually comes off not good. So what you probably want to do is sit down, and it's an assignment right here. So sit down, write an outline. What do you want to start with? What do you think you should do next? Just write an outline of how you're going to work through your project. That's going to help you set up your slides. It's going to help you start to figure out what you want to say and how you should set things up. And then your project's going to come out so much better because you spend a little bit of time preparing for it. Okay. And then down here, you're going to come in and you're going to turn in that completed project. Make sure you turn it in on time. Do not trying to be submitting this video in the last seconds. Okay. Because that becomes a problem. We are not supposed to take this. This is basically your final exam in the class, and final exams in these courses get viewed a little bit differently by the school because Like if there's ever a dispute over grades, generally the final exam will be looked at. So we have to make sure that we are conducting things with the final exam in a proper way. Now, in this class, it's not a test exam. It's the project that you're turning in. But turning in late is definitely a problem. So please don't be trying to turn it in with seconds left. If you can turn it in a day early, great. If you can turn it in an hour early, great. And then if there's any kind of issues where your Wi-Fi goes down or something, you have time to take care of it. You have time to fix it. Okay? So just make sure you're doing that. Okay, so that's the overview of what's expected in the project. Again, there's lots of information here. There's the text that you should definitely read, and then there is the example video here that I have for you to look at. Most students, the easiest way to do this and make sure it's going to work is to submit the video to YouTube. Don't worry, it's not going to go viral. Everyone at VC is not going to be watching your stats video here. But the problem is if people try to send me a file, sometimes that file can't be opened. And if I can't open the file, then I can't give you a grade. So the easiest, most surefire way to make sure it works is to just submit it to YouTube, and you submit a link in your as your assignment, and then I watch the video, and then everything works out great. Okay? Okay, thank you.